Hello, Jimmy Okinola here, certified mentor, Icon agent, eXp Realty. Um, Welcome to another session of a quick video recording, agent training for how to put your contract together. So we're going to quickly look at putting together a buyer contract. We're going to put together a residential sales contract real quick. So let's get into it. Let's share the screen. Let's get going. So here we go. So now we're going to go back to the same one that we used that I already have created here for you, which is buyer sample. Once you get into your SkySlope, so let's click on that. And I'm going to go ahead and select templates because I already have templates built. So I want to do a contract offer. If my client if I want to use a GCAAR documents because my client lives in DC, Montgomery County, or any other greater capital area of the state of Maryland, I can use a GCAAR form. Or I can use an MER if I want to use the Maryland Association of Realtors. One quick note of caution here. Um, I always like, because when I'm receiving contracts from agents, I love it to be in a certain way. We don't want to mix contracts. I can't emphasize that enough. The reason why you don't want to mix contracts is MER has a totally different expiration time, and GCAR has a totally different expiration time for the contracts. MER is 11:59 p.m. GCAR is 6 p.m. So it's important that you know that, and it's important that you don't mix forms together. So if you're going to use, let's say in this case, I decided I want to use the MER. Again, it's pretty easy. You can use GCAR. I've already set up all my templates, so I can easily come in and get it. So boom, I click on that, apply templates. It puts every single thing into my file. Or did it? No, it did not. So let's go back. I don't know what happened there. So we're going to go back to contract offer package, MAR, apply, and oh, it said, oops, you've already applied the templates. Why can I not see it if I've already applied it? Interesting. What's going on here? Because I don't see them. So let's go back to add forms. No, I don't want to add forms. I want to add a template because I already have the templates built, but I do not know why it keeps saying I already did. So let me try GCAR instead. Let's see. Okay, GCAR added. I don't know what happened. That MER keeps saying I already did, but I couldn't find it. So in any case, so we have the GCAR templates already applied over here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pick out all of my forms. To make my life easy, I always do select all because I can remove the forms that I know I don't need for this particular transaction. And whether I remove them here or I remove them on the next page, no big deal. The reason why this makes my life easy is I know where my first form is because that's my buy offer summary page that I actually designed and put together. That's the first page that introduces my client to the listing agent because that's the same thing I want when I have my listings. I also always include one of those, in my disclosures in the MLS because that's the first thing I want to see. That's a summary of my contract or my offer to the agent on the other side. And I hope that, afford me the same courtesy by sending those same things to me that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, let's just fill this out and send it. Oh, actually, before we do that, because I like to make things super easy for me. So let's leave that for 1 minute and let's come up here to file details because you want your life to be super duper easy. You want a bunch of stuff to be transferred already from the MLS. We're going to go ahead and put your MLS information on there. I'm going to go on the MLS and quickly pick a listing, um, just any listing in the MLS that I want to put, that I want to do on there. This is a Maryland deal that we're doing. So let's look for properties in Maryland. Let's just say it's 20721. Okay, we got 21 properties here, so let's pick one. And we're just going to go ahead and say we're picking this one. this deal right here. Oh, perfect. They even have all the other stuff listed. So I'm gonna take this. Um, I'm gonna take this MLS number and copy that. Let's come back here. So I'm gonna put that information in there. Hopefully, it's going to transfer every single thing for me. Doesn't seem like it is, for whatever reason. What's the price in this? 735. And the address is 12201 Prospect Landing. Another way you could do this is with that, you can actually do 12201 Prospect Landing. It actually will pull those information. So it might just be a little slow right now. Put a sales price on there. We're doing the deal today. We don't know if it's going to be accepted or not, but we're doing a deal today. We have the address of the property. And once you add that into it, it typically should have all the information pulled. But some properties don't. And this might just be one of them. And the reason why I think he's not pulling it, because I don't have the agent's information. But in any case, there's another screen that you could go through that will actually pull all that, but it's okay. So what you will now do is you're just gonna have to transfer all of the information for everybody in there. There's always, there's an easy way to do it, and if it doesn't want to work, you go through a different route. I'm gonna open up a new screen on the side so that I can get all the information for this property and run through this training with you guys, even though you can't see what I'm doing on the different screen, but it will make things pretty easy and quick when I start to just transfer the information that I see. Prospects Landing. So the things I want to put on here is I want to get the seller information. Seller information, you can easily find that in the disclosures. So hopefully the agent have that put in there properly. In the disclosures, gosh, I'm looking at the disclosure over here, and it's truly not detailed at all. That's interesting. It's really not detailed at all. There's almost no information. Let's see. They have the appraisal, they have all that stuff, but important things that I want, like actual disclosures, can find it. Okay, I finally found it. It's okay, so, and, oh, okay. All right, so the seller in this particular deal is an organization, so you change it to an entity, and it's University of Maryland of MD College Park Foundation. That's the seller. So we put that there. It's an entity. That's it. You don't need to do anything. You're not going to need to send an email to the seller, so you don't need to worry about that. But they ought to be a representative that is going to be signing these documents. And unfortunately, the agent did not list that, so I'm just going to call that person seller sample. Because even though you're doing an organization or a business, you absolutely must have, a representative of the organization. So you put that there. So the next thing I'm going to fill out here will be the agent that is representing the seller. So the seller agent, we're going to put that here. And the seller agent for this property, we're going to put their name, because we need the information. This is why in many instances, when I put that MLS number, it would have pulled all this information and the agent's name will be there. But in this instance, it did not. So unfortunately, you're going to have to do some typing in this. But I'm only going to put the most important things that I need, like the first and last name of the agent's license number. I'm going to put that there because I need that on my documents. I'm going to put the MLS code in there. Then I'm going to put the brokerage name in there because I want that. It's Long & Foster. Just happened to my screen, I think. Long & Foster. So you put that information there. If you've been doing Fubi, if any one of them comes up, we pick it. I know the one that I want. There we go. I'm just going to pick that. But typically, you'll be able to pick all that, and that's it. You can put their phone number, you can put all that in there and save. So now I have the myself, the buyer's agent. I have my client, the buyer. I have the seller, and I have the listing agent information in there. Those will be the ones that will fill. So that's really for now all I need. So now let me go back to did I was it okay, good. So now let me go back into the forms where we started. So we're back in forms. Again, I'm going to select all, then deselect the ones that I know I don't need for a fact. So I'm going to deselect all the stuff. There we go. And I know this is my first page because that's my offer summary page. So I'm going to click fill and send. Now, the one thing that I didn't add to this that we should add, but I'm not going to do it for the sake of time because I don't have that information downloaded already, will be for you to actually add the disclosures for this listing. You also want to include it in this file. Just to show you real quick how to do that, let me save this and go back again. Save. So this is the deal, right, that we're in. If I actually add the disclosures, all I needed to do is I just go add forms and I can upload that disclosure. Then you just go right here, upload documents, and you find the disclosures. Let me see if I can find any disclosures just for the purposes of, just to see how it's done. So here's a disclosure right here. I click that and I add my disclosure to the file. Once he uploads it, document is added, that disclosure is right here at the bottom. Even though it's not for this property, but for the sake of just the training purposes, that's the steps that you follow. So then we start from the top, right? So like I said, all my offers, when I'm sending, I want everything to be upfront. I want them to see the summary of my offer. So this is where I'll put my information, lender's information, the contract sales price, what kind of financing we're doing, the proposed settlement. If you're asking for any closing disclosure or not, the amount of my escrow, I fill all these things out. I make my checkpoints. So when the agent sees my contract, they're excited, they're ready to rock and roll with my offer. Now, again, simple process of how you follow to fill everything out. I'll just run through it on the things that is extremely important. Oh, actually, look at that. So I can actually import the MLS data right here. So what if we click that and you put that information back here, right? And boom, that's the property that you want, right? You select that property, all that information that I just typed, I didn't need to type it. And it's the same way. Do you want to override it? Yes, override it. So anything that maybe I mistyped something, sure, override everything and import the new data. It's 56 data was successfully imported. So now the information of the buyer, of the seller is going to be there. The agent's information, listing agent's information is going to be there. So it's perfect. So that's what you want. So you can use that part to cross-check what you're doing. Now, let's start filling out the form. Sales contract, you have to have the date on when you submit your offer, so we'll do that. From this point on, all you're doing now is just going through to make sure everything is correct, okay? And it says the EXP represents who? Represent the buyer in this particular instance. And then you just go through this, make sure everything's correct. You definitely, this is a Maryland deal. Sometimes I gotta stop myself and check myself to make sure. This is a Maryland deal. I'm using a GCAAR contract. So I don't need to select anything in DC, nor do I need to select anything from Montgomery County because this property is in Mitchellville, which is Prince George's County. Then over here, this is where the rubber begins to meet the road. What kind of financing are we doing? What kind of down payment are they putting down? They're putting 20% down. First trust is only going to be 80%. So that's what we do. How much are they financing in total? Total financing, if they put in 20% down, excuse me, I'm not that great in remembering numbers or the excellent in math like that no more. So was what is the total amount that is being financed is going to be, oh, of course, oh, that's percentage. I'm sorry. 80%. I don't need no calculator. Okay. So 80% is what we're doing. Then what are they obtaining? Will the first deed of trust purchaser will obtain, you know, they will obtain one, and it's going to, or are they assuming one? You know, they're not. So, and it's going to be fixed term. They're using a conventional loan, you know, whatever type of loan they're doing, we're just going through and selecting every single thing that has been done. If your client's getting the second deed of trust, you also let them know what that entails. If they're assuming, this is where you fill it out. They're not assuming anything, you don't. So we keep moving on. You see at the bottom here, this is where the initials are going to eventually be. Okay, so now deposit in the amount of, this is where basically your EMD is, right? They're putting down in the amount of $20,000, right? If they're doing whatever the amount is, $20,000, right? Is the EMD, and it shall be held by the escrow company that you're using. Put the title company name in there. And if it's been delivered, you check that. If it will be delivered, you check that. And within how many days? Let's say 5 days. I put 5 days in there. And this is what you're doing and going through everything. When is the settlement going to take place? When are you anticipating settlement? You put a date on there. You select the date, you put it on there. And the buyer selects, you put the title company that the buyer is using, you put it on there. Property management and condition. What is the state on you taking, how do you expect the property to look, when you are at settlement? Are you basing it on what you saw on the day you were making your offer, or are you basing it on a later date when you're going to do your home inspection? You put your conditions on there, whatever conditions you want. So that way, or if it's other, you put it in there. So everybody knows what we're doing or not doing. If your contract is contingent upon a home inspection, you select that. Again, this is a GCAAR form that I'm using. It will be different if I was using an MAR form. And I'll do another video of that. That is also hopefully as short as this, that you'll be able to see. And then you just go through every single step. If there's a home warranty, yes or no. If it is, who's the person purchasing it? It's very simple, yes or no. And who's purchasing it? If you're making the seller purchase it, you say yes. What was the limit of price that you're giving them? Maybe $800. And you say that the home warranty policy will be paid for and provided by at the settlement date by the seller. If that's what you're doing, if that's how you're writing your contract, that's what you just need to know what you're putting on there. If it's none at all, you don't put anything. If it's still going to be one, but the buyer is the one that is paying it, you can just select buyer. You don't need to put any price here because the buyer is the one buying it. They can buy whatever kind of warranty they want on the property. If you're making the seller buy it, you put those things on there, you select seller, and you can, if they already have one that they're actually giving you, you can put all that information on there. If you have a particular warranty company that your client wants, you can put that on there, whatever the case is. So we move on. Then we're talking over here again, lead-based. This particular property was constructed in 1991, so that is not applicable. So you select NA over there, and we keep going, and just go through, make sure everything is correct, selected the way it's supposed to be. You don't have the seller's address, of course, we don't have that. Seller's email, we don't have that, or phone number, we don't have any of that. But all of this will be filled. You fill out the agent's name. See, this is the stuff that he pulled. So unfortunately, he didn't pull the license number, which I put in there before, but you'll fill out all of this. You want to make sure all of these are filled out. You don't want anything blank. You truly do not want anything blank as much as you can. So you fill all that kind of stuff out. Your side, definitely you don't want anything blank. You put your phone number on there. You put the phone number there. Licenses, the licensee, license jurisdictions, DC, broker's license jurisdictions, DC, team leader or team agent's name, Esther, put name there. Boom. So everything needs to be as neat and as clean and as, filled out like this. Then you go to the next thing. If there's an addendum that you added, there's certain conditions Are there certain things that you requested? Is there certain things that that is it that you want included, or that is a part that you're making a part of this? You put it in there. If there is nothing, please remove the form. You don't need it there. Um, Notice for sales contract. If you don't need this form, again, remove it. These are just addendums that you need or you don't need. If there's anything particular, yeah. But if you don't need it, let it go. VA, because remember, what I did was I just selected every single thing and I brought it over just to try and shorten this time frame for this video. But that's the reason why we're now going through removing a bunch of stuff. I don't need a VA because we're not doing VA financing, so I removed that. I know we're doing a conventional loan financing, so we're going to go through this between buyer sample and the University of Maryland Park Foundation. So it's filled that out. The buyer will obtain, first deed of trust, and it's in the amount of, as a in the amount of 80% of the sales price, which is amortized over 30 years. It's going to be a fixed loan. So you select all that. That's it. There's no second deed of trust, so we don't need to worry about that. Seller's option to avoid contract. Buyer shall deliver by 6 p.m., X amount of days after the date of ratification, your financing deadline. So what date are you putting on that? You're going to give them a financing deadline, 12 to 18 days, whatever the case is. I'm going to say 15 days, or 18 days. Again, you're only selecting that number of days based on the conversation you already had with your lender for your client, knowing when they can actually get you a conditional commitment for financing for your client, knowing that all that work is done. So you do that. And then you go over here. If this contract is contingent upon something, it says appraisal contingency over here. Is it contingent appraisal? Yes, it is. If it's not, then you select, or it says this contract is or is not contingent. If it is, you select that, and it's going to be how many days after the date of ratification. How quickly do you think your lender is going to be able to get that done? If it's contingent, you need to put a date determined over here. So 18 days after days of ratification, we believe we're going to have the appraisal done, and we're making it contingent. So by the 18th day after this contract is ratified, it's part of the things that needs to be on my calendar, so I can make sure that I get my lender to have that commitment letter for me, so that we're not in violation and our contract is voided or makes our contract voidable. Now, we come to the addendum of clauses. In GCAAR, you have two separate addendum of clauses. If you need them, or if you don't, you'll be able to determine over here when we go through it in a minute. But again, you want to put dates on every single thing. He has the top part filled out. So on addendum clauses A, you have the opportunity to say, if you're open for seller's credit, and if that's part of your contract, then you select seller's credit. If not, you don't need to worry about that. If it is, how much are you asking for? Is it a dollar amount, or is it a percentage? If there's one, you put it on there. This market is different. I don't believe but hey, who might say? But in any case, whatever the case is, this is where you do it. If you're asking for any kind of seller credit, whether it's for compensation for buyer agency, or whether it's for closing costs for your client, this is where you do that with the addendum of clauses A. You can do dollar amount, you can do a percentage, whatever it is, you select it right here. All right. So let's say let's get generous, right? If it's continued upon inspection, you put it on there. How many days is your inspection after date of ratification? 7 days, 5 days, 10 days, whatever the number of days are, you put it over there. Then, what are your terms when this home inspection comes back? Are you selecting a right to negotiate, or are you selecting a right to cancel? You've got to say which one you want to. If you want to negotiate, just simply we negotiate. If it's a right to cancel because your client doesn't like something about the inspection and they want to terminate, they don't even want the seller fixing anything, just click right to cancel. Again, that's in your communication with your buyer to be able to determine that. And this section is if you were buying the property as is or anything like that, and you're removing any of this clauses, you got to check those and say that, yes, we're buying it as is. We're not doing any inspection or anything. We don't care. My buyer is good, just wants to go. If you're doing a radon inspection contingency, if you're doing radon testing, you need to select that and you need to put how many number of days. If you're not doing it, you don't need to. But whatever you select that you're doing, you need to make sure that you select it, you put the number of days, and your clients will initial there once you get to that part. You want to select over here, who is holding. If you guys are holding the EMD, that's a matter of precaution. I'll let you know. We do not hold EMD in AXP. You don't want to do that. I don't do it. And it says right here, holding deposit. If you want to do it, yeah, you do it. Whenever it's your holder is the escrow agent, we're not, so we don't. So I don't select that. If you relate it to the buyer or anybody in this transaction, you need to make sure that you make note of that. You select it here. There's an additional addendum that you have to fill out, but you need to make sure that you disclose that here as well, and you disclose who you relate it to. If there are any other addenda that you're going to be including, select it, list them all here, and let's keep moving. Addendum of clauses B. This one is if you have a different kind of contingency, like maybe your buyer, they need to sell a house first, and or if there's going to be a kick out, if the number of days for the kick out, all that kind of stuff, this is when you use the clause B one. If there's none, then you don't need to worry about it. You just simply need to remove it. Okay. So we're just gonna go on again, and on this part it says, this is the part where there's a contingency, they need to sell their property first, or this is a backup contract. You have all of these contingencies here that you need to fill out. If you do not need this form, if there's no need for it at all, please just click over here and delete that addendum. Anything you don't need to include. If there's a 1031 exchange involved, you need to do it. If there's an appraisal contingency to be involved, you do that. And again, it tells you not to be used with conventional FHA or VA financing addendum. It's just a separate thing, but you need to make note of that here as well. And here we go. So escrow, this is where you fill out the information for escrow, what escrow company you're using. That's where you select all this information. How much is the escrow amount? $20,000. Who's going to be holding it? All that good stuff. You continue and continue and continue. This way you fill out the information of the escrow agency, the title company that you're using. And that's that. Now, authorization to show and pay buyer broker. This form right here, we don't use this anymore, but this form right here is, it says when buyer is sold by, this is for if you use it, if they're unrepresented. So actually, I will not use this form, but this is one of the forms that I use for that purpose. So I'm going to remove that. This is the one that you use, So you use this one right here, you're showing the property, how you getting compensated, you put that information here, and move on. Use this form addendum for seller to pay the buyer broker compensation. So assuming you already had a conversation with the listing agent, they told you how much the compensation is going to be. This is what you put it on there. You've already established a relationship with your client, and your client, because we're using this same one just for consistency in the agency agreement that we put together for this client, this was what we had on there. So this is where you reiterate it. And this now becomes a question of, so is it going to be, are you including this for the seller to understand that they're paying the whole thing because that's what you negotiated? Okay. That needs to be very clear. Now, if this listing agent has already told you we're not paying all of that, then it means your client is paying the difference. Moving right along. Then to agreement of sale. Actually, no, we don't need this one. That's for builders, so we don't need this one. Now, home inspection contingency. This is where you're going to fill this one out. The grant this offer that we're putting on this date. This is what am I doing here? This is what I need. This is what I need. Okay, this is if you're removing any kind of thing, but you don't need that right now. That doesn't go as part of your It doesn't go as part of your offer, your contract offer. So that's not there. We're not using FHA, so that goes away. We're not using any general addendum, so that goes away. We're not escalating this contract, so that goes away. You can if you if the listening agent wants that and you guys are in a competitive situation and you feel that that's the best thing for your client. Then we come back to all the other additional forms, the title company that we're using, the ratified business association dealings, the wiring fraud, and all of this stuff over here about disclosure of broker relationship. We don't need that. I don't know why that is there. I know why. Because I picked up disclosures for a different property. So those disclosures, assuming this will be the disclosures that you pulled from the contract from the MLS for this property, and this is where you now go on and fill out that information for that disclosure. So that's just in essence what that is. Your disclosures is included. All of this is prepared. Once all of this is done, put everything in, then you click on prepare. And now again, I'm signing, my buyer is signing because it's a contract offer for them. If if you feel that everything is good because you've already had the conversation and you know all is good, you can actually go right here in this situation and select that once you and your buyer signs this contract, it could go directly to the listing agent. They can receive this directly and start signing. Of course, I don't want to create a crazy situation for them, so I'm going to make a change to that, but I want to show you how it looks. So we're going to say they're going to receive that, and we're going to click next. So it's going to do its stand, and it's going to start assigning everything. Now, the first thing I'm going to do once we're on this page, because I do not want to accidentally send anything to this listing agent because we're not sending them any offer, I'm going to come to this side and say edit recipients. So I'm going to take this gentleman right here, the listing agent, and I'm going to remove their information, and I'm going to put myself on there as who's going to receive the email, right? So I'm going to use one of my email addresses that I want to receive it because I don't want them getting the stuff. And as you can see over here, it tells who signs first, who signs next, and who gets the copies. In fact, you can even over here where it says add a signer group, you can make changes over here. You can drag someone and say, hey, I don't even want, that's the second person that signs after this one. So if you have multiple people, you can do that. Or if it's just a case of you don't want anyone getting the document before someone who is primary or anything like that receiving it first, signing and reviewing it, then you can also add signer groups. But that's what we do. We make those changes and then we go over here. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to fill out all this, but I'm going to show you how it's done. So your first name on the side, your name is the first thing that comes up. So I want to fill out all this. This is, again, like I said, this is my buyer summary. And like you can see, it says, dear agent, I prepared this for me because this is what I want agents to send to me. And as a courtesy, this is what I want other agents to see when I'm sending them an offer. So I say, please see attached our client's offer on your beautiful listing. For ease and expediency, we have provided all pertinent and necessary information. And if any line is omitted, it was simply because it is not requested by our client of yours. Thanks for the opportunity and looking forward to hearing from you and perhaps working with you for our mutual clients' benefits and success. So I'm going to start filling out information. So the first thing I do is text. I put a text line over here because this is where my information is going to be. I want them to know who the agent is that I send them this offer. So again, my typing is not the fastest or the quickest, but I will try not to do everything so I don't bore you. So I put my information and then I put my email, right? Ifrealty.com. So I put my information on there. If I need that line to be bigger or anything like that, you can always extend it. I put the lender's information here. I type it in. I put the lender's phone number, email, and everything there. I'm going to put the contract sales price on there. What are we buying the house for? Because again, I want them to see certain information up front. And hopefully that will make my offer stand out. What kind of financing am I doing? Conventional, 20% down, fixed term, fixed pay. No, I just put all that information. I put the proposed settlement date. You get the drift. I put all that in there. So over here, we're doing inspection. What kind of inspection are we doing? We're doing a home inspection. So I'll select that. I come down to this side. So I put that on there and I come over and say check default. Are we doing radon? We do that. Mold, lead paint, structural, whatever. I just let wait. And I can type in there, anything specific. If you're doing a REMBAC, if they want one and they requested it, we tell them what our terms are. You fill all that out, and that's it. Then over here, you come to the actual contract. There's nothing else that you need to be typing or putting in here, except just notice he's already gotten the buyer's places to initial. All you want to do now is just go through this entire contract, make sure everything is correct. If there's any change that you need to make, you can make it now and here before you go. But you wouldn't need to type anything anymore because you already oversaw that every single thing was correct. But if you did miss something, this is where you're allowed to make those changes. For example, I missed this on here before we're doing it. It says buyer representation. The buyer is representing that they will or they will not occupy the property. Oh, my buyer told me that they will be occupying the property. So I come right to my checkbox and I need to put that in there. So boom, I click that, check, it's done. My buyer will be occupying. So if I miss anything, this is where it is. It says the selling company is or is not authorized to disclose to the listing company, seller, and then are we authorized to disclose? If we are, yes. If we're not, boom. Again, whatever it is to do that, and that's it. You keep moving on, checking everything is correct, not applicable for lead. Okay, good. So you check every single thing to make sure that everything is in compliance, everything is right where it needs to be, signatures are correct, everything is in the right place. Oh, I missed some information, I can type it in here, and that's it. So we keep going. You're just checking everything to make sure signatures are where they need to be. Initials are where they need to be. Something was missing that I didn't do, I need to do it. Oh, this is where, so now you get to this form over here, and this particular form does not assign initials for your client. So you have to do it. So you come here, initial, you click your buy information, you click initial, they need to initial that they're looking for seller credit. They need to initial that they are making this contingent upon a home inspection. So they do that. Nothing else. They have the right to negotiate. That's what they're selecting. So you keep coming down, to go through. Oh, they are doing radon testing. Boom. They need to initial that. Anything else here? Nothing else is there. The signature is there. Perfect. And you keep going. Oh, is there a kick out? Boom. You need to put that checkbox there for that, if that's the case. But let's say for some reason I go, oh, no, I didn't mean that. There's no kick out. There's none of that. Then you just simply click on that and you delete it. But also the initials, what we're going to do, we need to delete because that's not applicable. So boom, you click on it, I can delete that. Settlement. Oh, by the way, don't forget, this system will actually put initials in certain places that it believes initials needs to be. So it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you read through it and to remove anything that doesn't need to be there. So there's no settlement of a different property that they're selling. So boom, select that, remove it. No backup contract, select that and remove it. It's not continuing on buying another home, remove it. It's not lead-based, remove that and keep going through it. There's no third-party approval needed, delete. Delete, whatever it is that you don't need. Brokerage fee paid by buyer, that's what that was. So if your buyer is the one that is paying or whatever, boom, you initially don't get to do it. But you get the idea. So whatever doesn't need to be there, remove all those. And we go through. There's no 1031 exchange. It's not appraisal contingent. or it is, whatever the case is, but we're doing it, we remove what we need, we leave. And they sign that, and then you come over here on the escrow part, and you come and you make sure that the signature is there. Good. And that's it. All those would have been filled prior. And here we go on authorization to pay. What they pay now, they're paying is on that. Same thing on this page, boom, boom, so on that, and sign. This part is not going to be on there, so you have to include that. And this side is not going to be on there, I don't think, yep. So you have to include that, move the date down. You can type the client's name over there. Wiring, this for the buyer, move that over there, make it slightly smaller, and this will be your disclosures, and if any of those are run there, you just start putting signatures and initials where it needs to be and stuff like that. And that is it. That's it. You finish all of that, then you click send. You can put your notes over here. Hello, client. Whatever, you know, whatever you want to say. Please review and sign. I want it to be professional. Click on professional. AI rewrites it for me. I like it. I'm good with it. I don't like it. I redo it. Send for signatures. It's going to go through it, and it's going to ask you to sign now. And you go through it. You agree. You have probably about 1 or 2 places that you need to sign based on what I did. Boom. Sign, done, finished, and go. It's gone to the buyer. I'm done. Buyer's going to get in the email. Good thing. In this instance, again, I made myself the buyer for email purposes so you can see the document when it gets here. So the buyer gets it in the email and say, oh, you have a document to sign. They go in there, click, and they can, oh no, sorry, it hasn't downloaded yet. So this is not the one. He hasn't made it to the email yet. But once it gets into the email, you will get that document. Let's give it a couple of minutes. Hopefully I'll get it and I'll be able to show it to you and you'll see it. I hope you can still see my screen in all of this. And still waiting for the document to come through. It's a pretty large document, I guess. So that's the reason why it's taking its time in getting to me. But that, in essence, is actually the conclusion of the contract trading. You can once you get a document, it's just the same way as it was on when we did the sample for agency agreement. The client gets the forms, they go through it, we open it up, and it just starts to sign, and that will be the end of that. So I hope you enjoyed the training. I hope it was informative. I hope it helped you out. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and put all your comments and notes in the comment section. Let me know how I can assist you. Again, this has been Jimmy Okunola. It's been a privilege and honor to assist you. Let me know if there's anything I can do to answer any questions and assist you in you thriving in your business. Make it an amazing day.